The greatest dollar I have ever spent, right here. To the Moon is a 2011 indie darling, and it immediately changed some of my perspectives. The game is entirely top-down 8-bit, and I have broken my 8-bit virginity, and I'm officially old. Yay, Shovel Knight, I'm coming after you next. But seriously, I didn't know if I could get into a game that was this style, especially one that doesn't have that big classic appeal to it. But I was happily wrong. I easily got invested into this game. Another scary turnoff I had to this game, no voice acting, and I was a little turned off by that at first. I've played games without it before, like Pokemon for example, and before in the past I felt the story was kind of diminished by that personal aspect where I don't hear voices talking when I'm getting the dialogue. But then again, I've read books, and I like those, and those don't have voice acting. Point I'm trying to get across is this game was a fresh new experience for me, and I should probably say what it's about. This game is almost entirely story-based. It's a story-based game, don't expect anything else. It follows the story of an old man, and his dying wish is to go to the moon. And in comes our two main characters, and I think they work for an organization that's sort of like Make-A-Wish for elderly. That's not explained too well, but the way that they are trying to get him to the moon is a little bit convoluted. They are planning to take him to the moon via a VR headset, and basically the only way that they're gonna get this correctly is to make him believe that he is going to the moon. So basically they change his memories inside of his head and make him relive a life where he takes the steps in order to become an astronaut. That's just the gist of it anyways. And the real heart of the story revolves around the character that it all is built around, and that is the elderly man named John. And basically his archetype at first is just he's an elderly guy, and like with a lot of characters and in real life, we break down people and characters in our heads to kind of fit an archetype that will simplify them. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, when we see an older person, our annotation is elderly, and that's not a good annotation. And like always, it's untrue, and we see this character develop and get so many layers, and I've never seen a character be built and get depth the way John is in this game. Looking at his life and in his memories, he becomes a three-dimensional character. And even though this game is very happy and cheesy, there is some really dark stuff going on underneath it. And that makes the happier moments in the game all the more blissful. Just swim in the conflicting emotions. This is a minor spoiler, but it's the first few minutes of the game and it kind of sets up the story. But basically, this old guy, John, he's dying, and his wife has also died. He went through a terrible financial crisis. There's a lot going wrong in his final moments of life here, and nothing you can do can change this. This is the reality. His wife also had some mental health issues that's kind of in the backstory, and it's implied that John, although he loves her, he's not exactly happy with the situation and not exactly happy overall. Again, it's a very sad, happy story, and I like sad, happy stuff. And by the time you keep digging in his memories and you reach his childhood, that's when really everything starts to become connected and everything interlaces beautifully. And this game didn't hold back on the emotional punches. It threw everything it had and it's excellently crafted. And here's a play-by-play of my emotions going through this game. This is pretty good at first. I'm feeling a 5 so far. Getting a little emotional here. There's no way I'm giving this game any less than a 6. Damn, I can't see anything less than a 7 at this point. So great. It's so great. I love it. I love it so much. It's so great. And spoiler alert, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. But if you look at the scores for this game and the general reception, it's an 8 is pretty low. This is a well-received game, and I'm saying that in hopes that will convince you to check it out. Not to mention the soundtrack to this game is great. In the credits, it listed the Bandcamp you can check out to download it, and I bought it. It's a very good soundtrack, and I want to give extra praise to one of the ending songs. Basically, the entire game is mostly just piano, and there's a point where a character starts singing, and it's like the first time you hear a voice in the game, and it's beautiful. I don't want to give the name because I want you to experience that song right at that moment of the game and not hear it before then. If you aren't going to play the game, then definitely check it out. But that being said, that song I can't praise enough. And the point I want to get across is this game got me completely invested. In about 5 hours, I played in maybe 2 or 3 sittings, and each time I was locked in. I was a part of the story. I was a part of the soundtrack. I was completely invested, and I loved the experience. It was great. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to give To the Moon a strong 8 out of 10 and the Soul Badge of approval. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you want, you can check me out on Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And if you want to feel like sticking around and maybe subscribe, I would also super appreciate that if you haven't already. And as they say in this game, what the potato. With that, I leave you. Alright, so I just finished playing To the Moon, and damn, this was a very special game. I already have a joke for my review, just like best dollar I ever spent. And it really is. It was just such an indie darling. It was just a soundtrack with a piano. I bought the soundtrack. It's completely